This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. It's really hard to change that from reinvestorsummit.com that I've been saying for the last 5 years, but I'm going to change if it kills me. All right, I have Xavier Major on the line. He's sitting in Arizona somewhere. I'm sitting in San Antonio, Texas. He used to be from San Antonio, Texas, or was a short timer there probably. His mom was in the military. God bless our military. Thank you very much. Were you in the military, Xavier?
Nope, never served.
All right. Well, thank your mom for us, will you?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So we're talking about wholesaling today. But before we get started, I'd like to pay homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. If you do not have a tax-deferred or tax-free retirement plan in which to grow your finances, you are missing a gigantic tool that should be in your tool belt. We're going to tell you what the financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling you. And then you can make up your own mind about what you want to do from there. Taxfreefuture.com. Be sure to watch the 37 little video vignettes. I especially like the ones where you take a little bit of money and make it into a lot of money in a relatively short period of time. Those are my favorite topics. All right, Tax-Free Future. All right, Xavier, let's start with your background, a little bit about who you are and where you're from. How old are you, may I ask? May I ask?
Yeah, no, you can. 27.
27. I hate people like you. When I was 27, I had my head so far up my hiney, it wasn't even funny. I'm 59 now. I'm an old guy. I have a receding hairline and,
You look great, though.
Well, thank you very much. I've lost 50 pounds. Woohoo!
That's amazing.
I went from 36 waist to 30. Anyway, just trying to get some of my discipline back, my friend. As I got more and more successful, I could buy anything I wanted. I could drink anything I wanted. I could drink anytime I wanted. I could eat anytime I wanted. I could sleep in. I didn't have to do anything. If it was strenuous, I just wrote a check. Someone did it for me. And then I just turned around and I had no discipline. I was fat. I was smoking a cigarette and drinking. I just, then one day I said, I think I've had enough of this shit. And so on August the 1st, I stopped drinking, smoking, and it's almost a year now. And
nice. Yeah, the curse of excess. That's what I call that.
Yeah. And it happens so gradually. You just wake up one day and you're like, how the hell did I get here?
Definitely.
So tell us about you.
Yeah. So I grew up moving around quite a bit. My mom was in the Air Force, as you guys know. For me, it gave me just kind of a broad experience of the world. So I only lived stateside for 6 or 7 years. And then we actually lived overseas in northern Japan for most of my life. So we were there from 7th grade all the way through graduating high school. I was fortunate enough after, playing football in high school to get a football scholarship to a school in Pennsylvania. And then somehow wound up back here in Arizona, where I met my wife, and now we have 4 kids. But through that whole time, I've always had the entrepreneurial bug. Like from the time that I was 8, I was out washing cars. I had a whole little menu item. I hired my friends to go through basically door to door and sell car washes for me. In high school, I bought my first car. I started a landscaping company. I figured out reoccurring billing, and I just put everyone on a subscription and went and cut their grass every week, and I didn't have to sell. And it was kind of nice because I had everyone on subscription. And then, when I came back to Arizona, I obviously got my degree in marketing, and I just really went to work. So I worked at a couple of different places and then wound up, falling in love with marketing. And over the past few years, just falling in love with the real estate investor space because as you know, here in Arizona, there's so many real estate investors. And, you go to the gym, you trip over a real estate investor. It's almost like real estate agents out here. So that's how I got into it. And really my passion, over the past 9 years has been marketing. So I'm just bringing now, my marketing expertise to the real estate investor space because for the longest I worked with, online marketers. So we're doing crazy advanced automations on the front end, on the back end, and all these crazy things with CRMs and stuff. And we had a couple of clients that were in the real estate space. And, me and my partner, we were like, what's going on with this real estate space? Why is everyone that we work with just so successful and crushing it? And, we kind of reverse engineered what they were doing and saw how, there were some gaps and some opportunities for us to bring our expertise to to the space, and that's where we've been for the past few years. And it's been a wild ride, but that's kind of how we got here.
So you've worked with some names that are pretty recognizable in the industry, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Care to
Yeah.
mention?
So yeah. So there's a guy named Brandon Simmons here that used to run dispositions for Sean Terry. He's been a great resource. He was kind of the guy that gave us the schooling. So he has a mastermind that we go to, where he basically, kind of laid it to us and gave us all the inner details of how it works. We've worked with Steve Trings, Pace Morbies, Jared Vidalis out here, and then, a couple of big investors across the U.S. So it's been fun to connect with everyone and get to know, just the different ways that you can work with real estate and the different strategies that everyone has. And it's kind of unique to see.
Yeah. So sooner or later, you're going to come to the conclusion that we are all in the marketing business. And if you don't learn marketing, then I don't really know what you're doing, unless you're just a day laborer and you're just digging a hole where they tell you to dig. We're all marketers. I mean, think about it. Even in the most subtle ways, you're marketing to your wife every day. Your wife is marketing to you. Your kids are marketing the hell out of you because they want.
Definitely.
They're trying to get, and they're selling you every day on why they need an ice cream today or whatever. I don't know, but we're all in marketing, aren't we?
Yeah, we're all in marketing. We're all in sales. We're like you said, we're selling our wives on ideas, my biggest thing right now is selling my wife on where we're going to eat for dinner. That's always a tough sell. Selling our kids on going to bed on time. And marketing is just planting the seeds for those sales opportunities. So that's really why I fell in love with marketing, just because it's everywhere. It's so prevalent in really everything that you do. And for me, like I always wanted to be an engineer. I grew up wanting to be a pilot. So I got really analytical in the way that I look at things. So I'm the guy that has a notebook and I'm writing down, ad angles that I see in commercials and, different marketing pitches that I like. And I will go through people's products and, buy them and see how they're setting things up. Because for me, it's just, that's the way of life. Like, I just want to understand it at such a deep level that I'm willing to spend, time just dissecting and learning stuff.
Well, so you reverse engineer because you're doing this marketing program for people, and you're starting to see that there's a lot of real estate related businesses, right? And what a big genre, right? Because real estate is a huge genre. There is more strategies and more ways to make money. That's one of the problems is, sometimes people don't stick with the one concept for long enough to be an expert at it, and they're popping around all the time. And I've been a victim of the shinier object syndrome from time to time in my life.
Oh, I have too.
I'm going to be honest, you know what I mean? Because the problem that an entrepreneur has, as far as I can see, and I don't have many original quotes, but maybe there's one. The hardest thing an entrepreneur will ever do is have one great idea and finish big.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity and everything. What you don't realize for a while is that every great idea will take everything you have to get it off the ground most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you have to have a partner that's dedicated to it, and you're just like the sounding board while you're doing other things. But
yeah. And I've struggled with that, and I'm sure most people have, like, getting into business, for yourself and doing it full time. It's like as you start to grow, you start to see all these opportunities, and you're like, well, that's a great idea, and I could jump on that one, and I can jump on this, and I can jump on that. And really, what's helped us refine our business and the things that we're doing is, one, just building up the confidence to say no to things. It's hard when you have friends that, will want to work on a business opportunity or show you a different strategy. And you're like, no, I got to master this. And for me, the longest is like, I was a yes man. Like, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I can help you with that. And you just get so burnt out, and it comes to a point where,
overwhelmed, right? You just do it all. The fine art of saying no. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
It's hard. It took me a long time to learn it. It happened to me yesterday. someone comes up with a great idea. It's not a bad idea. I love the idea. So what do you mean? You don't like my idea? I said, no, I love your idea. So why don't you come do it with me? He says, there isn't any of me left. All of me is committed someplace else, and there's nothing to give you.
Exactly.
Unless I'm going to walk away from that other partner and drop him on his ass and then walk over to you, which is not going to happen. So
yeah.
So what's your best tip for moving forward in marketing? Where do you start and where do you go?
So I think it goes back to what you're saying. The first step to moving forward in marketing is understanding what your investing strategy is. So if you are looking for creative financing deals, or you're looking for regular wholesale deals, or you're flipping deals, that's going to be the number one thing, because that's going to determine, I call it, the analogy that I use with all of our clients is like where you're going to fish. If you're fishing in a pond that has no fish, then you have no chance of, catching really anything. But if you fish in a pond where they just stock the fish and there's plenty of opportunity, even if you put out bad marketing and you have bad systems and poor follow-up, you're still going to have opportunities to close deals. But if you don't know where to start out or what you want, at the end of the day, it's going to be really hard for you to get any results from marketing.
Yeah. So where do you go to stay sharp on this stuff?
So I have a couple of mentors, that I work with. Really, for me, Facebook groups are where I stay sharp. So that's the biggest thing for me, is understanding what the challenges and troubles are that our clients are having, specifically as they start to build, some of their marketing or some of their systems for their business. That's what helps, me refine it, because if I can figure out where the problems are, then it's a lot easier for me to go and find the solutions. For the longest, I was just in a space where I just wanted to gain as much knowledge as I could. So I was listening and digesting to everything, but you get overwhelmed. Like, you can never listen to all the books that are out there. You can never listen to all the podcasts that are out there. You can't read all the blog articles or watch all the YouTube videos. But if you start with finding what the problems are and then going back and finding solutions to those problems, it makes it a lot easier for you to stay sharp on the right things. And for me, because again, I have that engineering mind, like I just want to digest everything. And it's easy to get shiny object syndrome with knowledge. Like, hey, I'm going to read this book. I'm going to read this book. Like, there was a time where I had, 6 Audible books on my phone that I hadn't even started yet, but I was buying new books because someone had mentioned it. And I was like, well, I need to go read that one now. So for me, it's a combination of, direct feedback. I read a lot of audio, or listen to a lot of audio books. And lately, the biggest thing for me has been just listening to CEOs that are doing, they run, between a $10 to $100 million a year business, because that's where we want to grow to. So listening to those interviews and, how they think about their business and how they grow their businesses has been, really a good, resource for me in terms of, staying sharp, both on the marketing side, but also on, continuing to grow our business.
Well, what's a day in a life look like for you? What does an average day look like for you?
Yeah, so lately it's been a little crazy. We just had a baby. He's only a month old now. So this is kid number 4 for us. So we're kind of in the groove, but usually my day starts at about 5 a.m. I'm up, I'll change the baby, let my wife feed him, and then we'll go, I'll take the dog out for a walk. Lately, because of all this quarantine and everything that's happening, I've been really into golf. So I'll go out and hit the range a couple of times, before I get to the office. And I'm usually into the office between, 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. And then from there, I'm I'm taking out our fires. So anything that's happened overnight, coordinating with our team on projects for the day. And then I'm either into creating content. So, depending on the day of the week, I'm creating content for our Facebook group or for, our clients. And then from there, I'm just doing client work. So I'm on the phone, selling new clients, generating new opportunities and, basically managing our ads. So the day dictates it, but a majority of my time is spent marketing and sales.
So do you do a lot of pay-per-click stuff?
Yeah. So we on average spend about $1,000 a week, either between Facebook or Google Ads.
Man, I've never ever had any luck with that. I guess I'm hiring the wrong people or something. And I'm not going to go learn how to do it because I don't have time to go learn how to do it.
Yeah. The hard part with advertising is it's one of those things that's always shifting and evolving. So whether it's Facebook, which has been really volatile lately in terms of what options you can use for targeting or how you can run your ads, or it's Google that, hey, you got to pay to play. Like you got to spend some money with them to get some results. And if you don't spend enough, you get a trickle of stuff in, and it's never conclusive enough to make a decision.
My biggest problem with things like that is like I can see where the powers that be, the big people, they could manipulate the hell out of you. So I got 1,000 clicks. Who knows?
Yep.
I mean, who said I got 1,000 clicks? You said? They said? I mean, did I get 1,000 clicks or not? And if they were clicks, were they real clicks or were they bullshit clicks? Is my competition clicking on me over and over and over again? Is Google just racking up my clicks just because they need to make some kind of payment this month? I don't know. They've got to pay some stockholders or something. So I get real suspect of this stuff. It's like, man, when it's not that transparent, and people have told me, well, it's transparent. We got Google Analytics. And I said, bullshit. Google can do whatever they want and change the algorithm. I don't know. So, but you're having luck with it, right?
Yeah. So the biggest thing to take away from like when it comes to paid advertising, whether it's on Google or with Facebook, is at the beginning of all of your campaigns, like it's easy to get lulled into this, belief of, hey, I need to create content and do, build brand and stuff like that, which is great for a certain level. But for real estate investors specifically, you need to be focusing when you run a campaign on direct response.
Yeah. Hell no, I don't need a name or a logo or brand recognition. I just need someone to bring me a house I can buy tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll worry about brand and stuff later when I don't have to worry about paying the bills. That's what I say.
100%. Yeah. So all of your campaigns, like in the beginning, should be direct response. So the way that you can control really what you're doing with Google or with Facebook is you tie it to an end result. So again, you have all these different objectives and Google will tell you, hey, do this one, or Facebook will tell you do this one. Our goal at the end of the day is, can we produce a qualified lead from it? And can we turn that lead into revenue? And if we're not doing that every single day, then that ad isn't working for us, because we're not in the business of giving away money to Zuckerberg or to Google. Like, they have plenty of money. They don't need any of ours. And we want to generate revenue. So when we run a campaign, we're looking for, specifically in our campaigns, we're looking for same day cash ROI. So we had leads come in, did we turn that into revenue? And for real estate investors, it's the same thing. If I'm generating leads, am I having conversations with those leads? Are they qualified leads? And if I'm not having that, then I'm turning that ad off and I'm testing a new one. And where a lot of people get stuck is the testing piece with ads specifically. Like there's a kind of a growth curve to it. So you have to kind of muddle through this, space where you're getting low results and you're testing different things. But as you continue to test, that's again where the engineering comes in. You'll get to a point where it optimizes. And you'll see that when you're running your campaigns where like, hey, I was getting 1 to 2 leads when I was testing this out, but I found one where I got 4 leads in a day. Well, then you slowly start adding budget to that one, and it starts to build and starts to build and starts to build. And that's why there's value in working with, agencies that do pay-per-click advertising or Facebook ads, because they can shorten that growth curve for you. A lot of people spend,
right. You have the ad, you have the winning ad today, and you have the other ad competing against it until you find one that's better than the winner. Then this one goes away, and now this one's the winning ad.
Yeah.
Bring in another one, right? So
it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job because you're not only just testing the ad, but you're testing with Google Ads, like the landing page that they're going to, and you're testing the messaging on that one. And then you're also testing your follow-up, because the biggest thing that hurts, most people when they run ad campaigns is the follow-up, especially if you're doing Facebook ads. The nature of that platform is people aren't going there to sell you their house. They're going there to look at pictures of dogs. They're going there to look at, their nieces and nephews and what's going on in the news. And you show up with an ad that's like, hey, I want to buy your house. And if you're not following up with them like right away and then continuously, you're just basically pissing money away.
Yeah, getting the lead is the first step. Converting it is the second step. And it's a waste of money to get a bunch of leads and not convert, right? So, so what is it you want to scale to 10 million to 100 million a year? You said you're watching CEOs because that's where you want to go. What business are you going to scale to that? Do you aspire to scale?
So our current business is the one that we want to scale. We're looking to shoot for about a $20 million a year business. So we have a couple of utility businesses that add on to our core company. But there's just so much opportunity for us to provide solutions. And the opportunity for us to get there is it's been weird, but it's almost an internal struggle, like getting past our own barriers and our own hurdles and rewriting some of the beliefs that we've had in terms of how we build a business is how we've been getting there. So for me, the longest time, my goal was, let's just make money. Let's try to get money in the door. Like, our goal is to make money. Once I shifted that and I said, let's make an impact, let's provide, solutions to people's problems. The money came with it. And also with that, I lost that attachment to money to where I'm fine if I only make pennies this month because I can bring on a team member that'll allow us to help more people or to bring on a software solution to help us get there. So that's really what I'm learning in those interviews is how to scale a business. Because those CEOs, they don't have that attachment. Like, yeah, they have money as, one of their goals. Like, that's, why we kind of all do this a little at some point, but they also have a big why. Like, I'm doing this for the specific reason, and just being around that, being in that environment and hearing how they talk about things really shifts your core of who you are. Because growing up in the military, like, I didn't work with any of that. Like, I wasn't around entrepreneurs. I wasn't around people that were, doing things. They were self-employed. I was around people that had a certain mentality, and that was my basically 21 years of my life. So I had to rewrite a lot of things. And again, it's, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. If I'm spending time with people that run billion-dollar companies, via, YouTube videos or podcasts, that's going to help me be in the place that I need to be.
Yeah, I like that. I think success begins when your belief system starts to tell you that you can, and I've seen this a lot in, the biggest area I've seen it in is the most obvious transformation. So I have some students about raising private money, and they're just freaked out and certain that they're not going to be able to do it. And then you go through a few exercises, and then all of a sudden, there's no reason why they can't do it. And the light bulb goes off, and they go, "Well, hell, if I'd have known that, well, it's always been there. You're just thinking about it wrong."
Yeah. Yeah, and you're definitely a true testament to that. I mean, you buy so many houses. It takes the first step. Like, for a lot of people, it's getting that first deal done. Once you get that first deal done, then you start to build that belief. And you've been building that belief for.
It says yes. You get the first private lender that says yes, and now it's Katie Bar that came on.
Yeah.
It's always that first one. That's why I tell even people, like, when they're going into real estate the first time, I want to be you. I want to do 100 deals. And I said, no, look, man, let's just worry about doing one. Let's do the first one. He says, well, I said, do that one. That's an easy one. They said, well, it only makes like $1,500. I said, I don't care. Just get a check and go show it to your wife. Because first of all, we got to get her off your ass because she's not doing it at all. So, I mean, just make a dime. Like in the educational business, or the podcast, I had no monetary desire. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry. I had no monetary expectation. I always have monetary desires, but I don't always put it that first, I had no expectations of this podcast at all. I'm about to do my 400th interview. I have a reasonable amount, I think it's about 24,000 downloads a month, which, by the way, puts you in the top 5% of the world in podcasts. It's kind of like the Millionaire Next Door. The guys that are doing the millions and the millions and the millions of dollars, they're way up there being divided by 1/100%, and then it drops dramatically, like fast. And so this is the podcast world, and I just wanted to know if anyone was even remotely interested in what I had to say, or if I could get an audience, or if I was going to like it, if people were going to like interviewing with me, and
well, and you had the grit to push through. Yeah, you had the grit to push through.
I mean, I was doing this for me. Like, I get to talk to smart people in their field all the time. If I
Yeah.
walk up to a guy and go, hey, can I buy you lunch and rake your brain? They'll go, hell no, get out of here. But if I say, hey, you want to be on my show and interview you? They go, well, sure. What's your show about? And I go, well, yeah. And it's all the same questions. So
Yep.
I've just been tricking everybody into giving me their knowledge.
It's not a bad thing. It's a testament to you because, I was looking at the stats a couple of months ago, and most people never do three episodes on their podcast before they stop. For you to do hundreds of interviews, like consistency is a big thing in business. Like I firmly believe like a majority of success is just showing up every single day, even when it's crappy, even when it sucks. If you can show up every single day and chip away at it, most people are going to give up along the way. And you're automatically putting yourself, like I said, you're fishing in the right pond if you're showing up every day.
Well, I told myself I was going to do 4 interviews a day. 4 interviews a week for the first 6 months. I didn't make it. I made it like 4 months. I just couldn't do it anymore. Because we were doing 4 that I was required, and then I was trying to do 2, so I had 2 to put in the can
Yeah.
in case I could make it one week or something, and got sick or something. And so I made it 4 because I realized you had to get like a jump start. You have to really push your businesses hard in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I started with 1 podcast a month or a week. So the first 2 months, there's like 4 podcasts on there. So big deal. So you had to load it up real fast. And then I told myself, but I wasn't going to quit or even decide anything about it until I had gone a year.
Yeah.
However many podcasts I could do that year, And then at the end of the year, I really had kind of settled in. It was comfortable for me. I knew more of what I was doing. I still don't know if I know what I'm doing, but
Well, that's a big lesson. A lot of people would probably skip over what you just said, but like making that commitment for a year before you can make a decision on it. Like if people did that with more things, they would find a lot more success. Hey, I don't have any expectations of this, but I'm going to commit to it for a year and see where it goes. And then also, what you said just before that, like businesses or podcast or really anything, I call it needs, It needs escape velocity. So just like a rocket needs to go really, really fast to get out of the atmosphere, businesses are the same way. Like we're doing something that only a small percentage of people across the US are doing. It's hard when we're in the space of like, oh, there's hundreds of there's thousands of real estate investors. I'm not the only one doing this. But when we look at it in the grand scheme of thing of, the total population of the world, we're doing something that only a small percentage of people in the entire world are doing. And it's easy to get lost and think that it should be easy because you see everyone in your immediate space is doing it. But in order to achieve anything great, it takes a lot of grit and determination and consistency. And it takes a lot of hard work in the beginning. And, for me, that was something that was hard because I grew up playing sports and I was always pretty gifted naturally. Like I was pretty good at really any sport that I played. So I came into business with that same thing. Like, oh, I can just let my talent, like I'm really good at marketing or I'm good at talking or whatever it was. I'm going to let that, help me out. But then, I got punched in the face a ton of times and realized like, okay, well, I'm actually going to have to build some mastery behind this because talent's not going to keep me there. And then, obviously, when you have a family to support, like you start to build that why a little bit bigger and you start to feel the pressure. And for me, I thrived on that pressure. Like I had to keep pushing. I knew that I couldn't work a normal 9 to 5 because it wasn't the life that I wanted. But I kept showing up every single day, even when it was hard, when I was sick, during the quarantine, most people were like, hey, let's, take a couple of days off and see what happens. Like we pushed right through and kept working. Because we were in that point where we needed that escape velocity to keep the business growing. And like I said, what you mentioned there is a big nugget that I think some people skip over.
So I like that term, escape velocity. You really got like a rocket trying to leave the planet Earth and to get into orbit. It needs a lot of energy to get off the ground. And it's got to start moving as fast as it can to get momentum.
Yeah.
To break through the barrier that's trying to hold it down, whatever that is. So I love that analogy. That's really good. So you have a quick start. You're helping people learn how to wholesale, right? And we'll just go to 1000houses.com/quick start. No, it's Kickstart, right?
Kickstart. Yeah, Kickstart.
Oh, damn. 1000houses.com/kickstart. And go over there and and see what Xavier has for you if you're in the wholesaling and you're tired of, well, everybody starts out as a one-man show. And I think everybody starts out as a wholesaler basically, and everybody starts out broke, and everybody starts out stupid. Pretty much. They might think they're smart, but they're pretty stupid in the beginning. We all were. Everyone is. You think you know it all, and you don't know jack. And you get out there and peek around a few times, and then you start to remember, that's why Xavier told me to do X instead of Y, and I was dumb, and I did Y because I didn't believe Xavier. But apparently Xavier's been around the block a few times, so I better start doing what he says, So, so if you want a quick start, and it has a lot to do with the CRM, Podio, keeping track of conversations, what you said, because as you and I both know, Xavier, when you start doing these lead generation strategies, some of these leads won't respond for months, if not a year or two away, and you have no idea what you said to them or where you were in the conversation or where their hot button was. So you got to take really good notes when you're talking to people, because the faster you can remember or connect with who you were talking to 6 months ago or 8 months ago relevant to this conversation, then the sooner. And the people can be impressed too, using, oh yeah, you have a dog named Pippi, and your wife's name's Martha, and you wanted to sell because you wanted to get an RV and travel the world, right? Did you get that RV yet? No, what's holding you up? How can I help you? Got to do the conversation fast. I think the oldest one I've had recently was 4.5 years. Someone pulled up from 4.5 years ago that they had. I guess, they were just waiting for Granny to die, and she held on. Trooper, she was just holding on for every day.
Yeah, I mean, in this business, the truth is the fortune's in the follow-up. I mean, even when we run marketing campaigns, like we can get as niche as we want when we do, data pools or when we're running campaigns. But if we're not following up, like 50 to 60% of our deals are going to be off of multiple touches. And if you don't have systems in place to keep track of that, or your system is a spreadsheet or a notepad, it's a fallible system. Like I lose spreadsheets on my computer all the time. I name it something and I go back through my drive and I can't find it. I lose notepads all the time.
With today's technology, you can do a lot of touches automated, dropping text. I own Livecom, LIVECOMM.com. It's a mass texting platform, and we can do, text merge. I mean, we can merge the first name with the property. We can send out to 1,000 prospects in our CRM, and it starts with their first name, and then the text has their address of the property that we were interested in. You know what I mean? Something generic. Hey, Frank, or are you still interested? Have you sold the property at 123 Main Street yet? I'm still interested. It goes out to 1,000 people in their own name with their own property address. Voiceless ring mails. Hard to send out bulk, I'm sorry, not voiceless ring mails, ringless voicemail.
Yep.
Hard to personalize that because of the nature of the platform. But you can send out a text with their name and the property, and then you send out a ringless voice drop that refers to the message, the text. Now it seems like it's personal.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I sent you a text yesterday on your property asking if you sold it yet. This is Mitch. Give me a call.
Yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah, so now that just went out to the same 1,000 people, but they think that I picked up the time to text them individually and then call them and drop a message on their voicemail. So there's ways to tie all this together. Livecom's a long ways there. We're working on we have the automatic text, the cell phone capture, all that stuff. I have 2,400 people in San Antonio, Texas, population 2 million, give or take a few. 2,400 people that have not opted out, and I send out a text. If you're not interested in the owner financed home anymore, please reply to this text with stop and get off this list. I got 2,400 people that want to know the next time I have an owner financed house for sale. And I can hit them for 2 cents a piece. With the text, with the link to go see everything in the world about that house, photos, everything. So this isn't your daddy's, put an ad in the classified and answer the phone marketing. We're way advanced right now. It's sophisticated to say the least.
Yeah. There's so much technology available to really any business. The hard part is knowing what technology to use. And again, one of the things that we've done is we figured out, okay, what should you be doing to get started? Like, that's why we put together the Kickstart, because we've worked with so many people where it's like, yeah, I'm doing 2 or 3 deals a month, but I have no systems in place, or I have no foundation, or I have like my follow-up is terrible. I know if I had better follow-up, I would close another 2 deals a month. Or if I had a way to connect, exactly like you were saying, if I had a way to connect with my buyers faster, I can get these properties sold a lot faster. Because it's one thing to get a property under contract for a wholesaler. It's another thing to actually assign that contract and make money from it. So if you can merge those two together by having the right systems in place and leveraging the technology, you'll be able to do a lot more than you could, just 2 or 3 years ago, because the technology offers you that availability. It's almost like your Iron Man. You bolt on all these parts to you to make you, better. But one thing that I want to caution that is that people think, hey, I can just use all these softwares and I can just do it all myself. But without a team, like, you're going to need a team to help you put the suit on. Like, obviously in Iron Man, he had the suit, go and put on by himself. I love that movie, by the way. That's why I keep referring to it. But you're not Iron Man. You still need someone to put the suit on for you. This is the version 1 of Iron Man where he had to have the doctor put it on for him.
Well, we developed the system. We use you have a basic website, mostly just for credibility. Then you have LiveCom to collect the phone numbers and to send the messages out on. And then you're driving everybody to a free Facebook page where there's a community of 8,000 people that are talking about owning their first home or whatever, or owner financed homes, and showing pictures of people getting their keys, to their new house, and videos of the rehabs and everything. Just an interesting community there. So we're averaging, and then, but that's all fine and dandy, but you have to hire a salesperson or a couple of salespeople that have to maintain it and keep it fresh and new, and answer the calls and answer the questions and post replies on the, to build a live community and be active. And so we do that, and then we move on to the next thing. Okay, we got the sales going. Well, we got sales running we're averaging 9 days on the market for the last 300 houses sold, and 12% down. So, 12,000 on a $100,000 house.
Yeah, so that's moving fast.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that without a team. Like, if you didn't have the team in place, like, that's the thing that I noticed, in our business and a lot of, people's businesses, is it's a bottleneck. At some point, you're going to be the bottleneck. If you didn't have a team in place to help, foster the community and follow up with people and get properties moved, you would just have a bottleneck. You'd have all this opportunity coming in. It's wide at the top and then narrow at the bottom. Things would trickle out of the bottom. And it's hard when you have all the marketing technologies where you can flood yourself with so many qualified opportunities if you run the right text campaign or ringless voicemail campaign, or if you're cold calling or you hire someone to do your cold calling. There's no limits to the amount of opportunity that you can receive, but there's a limits to the amount of opportunity that you can actually take action on. And that's where the systems and the team come in place.
All those leads and then not be prepared for it. I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, this is Xavier Major. He's over there in Arizona. Check him out, 1000houses.com/kickstart, and see how you can jumpstart your wholesaling lead generation platform. Get out there and start delegating a few things and use some softwares to help you alleviate one thing off your plate, if not a few things. So anything you want to say to the listeners? Maybe let's say we're talking to someone who's trying to quit their job and they're thinking real estate's the way to do it. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah. So what I would say to you is if it's your goal to do this full time, start slow. It's okay to start slow and build the right foundation, because without that foundation, it's going to be hard to scale up. It's easy, like I said earlier, it's easy to get a flood of opportunities and then bank off of the potential. But when you're doing this full time, like, you can't bank off of potential anymore. Your family's going to need that cash. You're going to need that cash to sustain the business. And if you don't have the right firm, like, foundation and systems in place, the business is just going to run dry and you're going to have to go back. And the worst feeling in the world, and I've done this before, is to leave full time to run your business and then have to go back and get a job because you weren't making enough money. Don't put yourself in that position by having the right systems in place. So that way, when you take that step and go full time, it's just game on. You can bring in more volume. You can have, you can continue to scale and grow. And
Are you suggesting we work part-time until we see, so we prove things to ourselves, and then by the time you leave, you should already have your income kind of figured out. So you already know it's all time. I like that. I mean, there's situations where people have had to jump into full-time where they decided to, and I get it. Like COVID, if you lost your job, I mean, you can, when you have a little bit of cushion, you can jump off. But I don't normally suggest that people just jump off the cliff both feet into a business that they don't know if it's for them or not. I always say, why don't you just work part-time a little bit, burn the candle at both ends? We all did it. I did it. I had the daytime job, and then the weekends and every evening or all the time I could steal from lunch or whatever, I was trying to find a house, and lucky for me, I didn't make any money. I was making like $32,000 a year. And so when I did a couple of wholesale deals, 3 wholesale deals or whatever, I ended up having a whole year's worth of money in the bank. And that's when I said, okay, this job that I have is no big deal. I was looking for a job when I found that job, and I'll find another job if I need one. I wasn't getting rich. So for the first time, not making any real money worked to my advantage, because it didn't take me long to have a year's worth in the bank.
Yep.
Then I could say, okay, I got a year's worth of money in the bank. I'm going to keep taking it the exact same way I take it from my boss, but I'm going to take it from my bank account, the exact same timing, the exact same amount. I'm going to make this last me a year, and I want to see what I can do for a year. And that year was March of 1996, and I did 45 houses that year, and I never went back to a job again. So
yeah. And you stair-stepped your way into it. Though, again, another analogy is like it's one step at a time when you're growing a business, and you need that escape velocity to get out. But don't be that guy that tries to jump up 2 or 3 steps, because there's going to be a time where you miss a step and you skin your knee and it hurts. It hurts real bad.
All right, you guys check out Xavier Major. Again, 1000houses.com/kickstart. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. Please go there, watch the 37 video vignettes. You won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling you, and then you can do with it what you want with that information. But it's definitely a life-changing event to understand that you can grow your finances or your retirement and defer your taxes for a long period of time until you're 59 and a half, or maybe even forever. It depends. But check it out, taxfreefuture.com. All right, this is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com podcast. I'd like to thank you for stopping by to get you some Xavier Major. He's over there in Arizona. Check him out. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye, Xavier. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, see ya.